Abdullahi from Kumana, the second Kumana traditional arts. We also have in our presence His Highness Reverend Dr. Abdullah Sa'idu, Chief of Honolulu, and then His Highness Mr. Kampo Peter, whom Kaniko ably represented by Musa Kampo Peter Yarima Kaniko. Also in our presence is His Highness Dr. Antio Josiah Torres, Adam Sipak, and His Highness Aladia Aya Muhammad, Prince Father Chawi, and indeed His Highness Mr. Yakubu Ilya Sawi Kubam Kudari, and His Highness Mr. Jonathan P. Zamuna Pukama Pereira, and His Highness Mr. Bature Sunday Oro Abraham Kamuru. Also, in our presence is His Highness Mr. Tobias Nkom Wada Abraham Abraham Takat, and His Highness Mr. Daniel Nelson Jebi Odom Obade. Also, in our presence is His Highness Ibrahim Ayu Halidu Abraham Father Ayu, and His Highness Mr. Adamu Ali Ibya Father Kamanta, and Mr. Wanda Amadu, Overseer of Arab Children, and His Highness Mr. Titus Dauda Agam Kupana. In the same way, please permit me to also produce speakers of the day in the following order. First is the President and Chairman of Council, NIPR, Dr. Ike Nelewu, NIPR, and his wonderful wife with us. Also, with us is the Vice President and Vice Chairman of Council, NIPR, Professor Emmanuel Dandawa, NIPR, and the Chairman, NIPR, Kaduna State, Dr. Malam Haruna Malami. Also, in our among the speakers for the day is the Chairman, National Planning Committee, NIPRW from City 2026, Chief Yori Padejo Okusanya, NIPR. Thank you, sir. In our presence is the Commissioner of Local Government Affairs, Honorable Sadiq Maman Legas. And also in our presence is the Commissioner of Information and Culture, Kaduna State, Malam Ahmad Mayaki, ANIPR. Also, in our presence, permit me to go back one of our royal fathers, is His Highness Mr. Petrus James, Chief of Kanaka. I hope I pronounced that well. Naka. Thank you, sir. Without wasting much time, please permit me to welcome our branch Kaduna State Chapter Chair for his welcome remarks. Madam Haruna Malami, NIPR. Please, you're welcome.
In the name of Allah, gracious and merciful, Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, represented here by the Commissioner of Local Government, Honorable Sadiq Maman Lagos, our own very Commissioner of Information, Ahmed Miyaki, senior council, SMEs to the government, and stakeholders, community relations here present. Our royal fathers are here with us this morning. the President and Chairman of Council, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Muyaka, the Vice Chairman, the Vice President and Vice Chairman of Council, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Professor Emmanuel Ezra. Our guest speaker, Alhaji Kaduna, His Royal Highness Alhaji Kaduna NPR. I think before I continue, I would like to share the similarities I have with his Royal Highness. He was at one time in history the head of corporate communication of Kaduna. The position I occupied around the time when he was remarkably at a time in history the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations chapter, in the position I presently occupy. So I would like to say I'm feeling very happy in your hands. Distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to welcome you all. It is very important that today's forum bring together a lot of wisdom, tradition, and leadership that has guided our communities for generations. And it's a great honor and deep sense of responsibility that I warmly welcome you all to this very important gathering. I'd like to thank the chairman of the National Parliament Committee, the members of the local organizing committee, for working tirelessly to bring this very important event together. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank you all for your presence and we wish we have a very beautiful and wonderful celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, the Chair NIPR Kaduna chapter. I pray to be pardoned. Let me acknowledge the presence of the immediate past president of NIPR, Madam Dr. Surajo NIPR. I hope I will be pardoned for that. Thank you, the Kaduna State Chair, for that insightful welcome remarks. Without wasting much time, I will go straight and invite for the opening remarks the Chairman National Planning Committee, NIPR Proxy 2026, Chief Yobi Padedo Kusaya of NIPR. Thank you and welcome to the podium, sir.
The representative of the Deputy Governor, members of the State Executive Council present here today, the chairman of the Kaduna Traditional Council, His Highness Royal Highness Daniel Satan, all our royal fathers here this morning, members, the President of the Nigerian Institute of of course, is vice, and the members of the council, governing council of the Nigerian Institute of Relations, members of the National Planning Committee, members of the local organizing committee, ably headed by the chairman of Kaduna chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, gentlemen of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me make a confession, Your Royal Highness. I was born in Lagos, but I came to school in Kaduna. I thought that deserves a big round of applause. I have my counterpart here, He is the Commissioner for Local Government, Chief Justice Council, and I hear your name, Lagos is included in your name. Please from now on, know me, I am your leader of Kaduna. If he can adopt Lagos, I can adopt Kaduna. I went to school in a village off the road here called Malali and Government College. And having been born in Lagos, and I grew up in Lagos, I thought that was the end of the world, the beginning and end of the world, until I came to Kaduna and I had the most beautiful 2 years of my life. So when I heard that the council decided that the next Nigeria Public Institute will happen in Kaduna, and I will be the chairman, it's a homecoming for me. So I'm going to welcome all those who are not from Kaduna State, starting with my president, who lives in Abuja. And we coined something, a slogan for this week. And Your Highness, Your Royal Highness, is Lale Lale, which means welcome, welcome. So you are going to join me in welcoming everybody to this event. When I say NPRW Crop City 2026, please shout with due respect, sir, at the top of your voice, Lale Lale. Now I will explain to you why. When I was about to come to Kaduna, my driver has been with me for close to 25, going on 30 years. He said to me, Oga, Uncle, he calls me Uncle, do you have to go to Kaduna? Because what I hear about Kaduna is not very good. So I had to explain to him that yes, there are issues. Just like we have problems in Lagos. We have area boys in Lagos. We can also have area people in Kaduna. And Kaduna is safe. And since I've been here, I've been taking videos, sending it to him on all my social media platforms that Kaduna is safe. And that's the message. All of us, the 2,000 of us that will be at this conference for the next 1 week, we must go out and tell the world that this state is safe, this state is for progress, this state is for promotion, and this state is Nigeria. And we will have our problems and we will solve each problem. Forgive me for being passionate about Kaduna because after Lagos, I consider it my second home. So I will promote my second home and I hope you will all join me. So let's do this all together. Now, NPRW Crop City 2026. You can't even hear, they didn't hear that in hearing. Well, they didn't hear that, sir, Your Royal Highness. We want them to hear in Lagos, want them to hear in Abuja, want them to hear in Oka. And we do that again. NPRW Crop City 2026. Can we please give ourselves a big round of applause? We have been clapping. Can we clap, please? The more we clap, the more prosperity comes to Kaduna. Thank you very much. Yes, Your Royal Highness, Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished traditional rulers of Kaduna State, esteemed elders and custodians of our heritage, members of the National Planning Committee, I had acknowledged members of the Executive Council. And let me actually start on, as they say here, the protocol has been well established by most able masters of ceremony. I bring you warm greetings and great respect. It is both a privilege and responsibility to stand before this distinguished gathering of royal families. Men whose voices carry not just the authority, but the history, the wisdom, and the moral clarity. On behalf of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and the National Planning Committee of the Nigerian Public Relations Week, Crop City 2026, I express our profound gratitude for granting us this full date. We have not come here, Your Royal Highness, merely to inform, but to engage, not to simply plan an event, but to align purpose. It will interest you to know that everywhere the week has happened, 3 years ago we had it in Ogun State, and we had this same event. Last year we had it in Uyo, Akwa State, and we also had this same event. We engaged with the traditional rulers in both states, and I will soon share with you the essence of why we're here. Kaduna is just not our host city for Nigeria Public Relations Week 2026. It is a symbolic ground, a place where diversity meets daily reality, where differences are not theoretical, but live, where peace is not an abstract idea, but a necessary, continuous effort. This is why this engagement with you, our traditional rulers, is central to the success of our week. Nigeria today, we have so many challenges, and we have so many communal strides, we have all kinds of things, but we need to give ourselves a work, come together so that we can communicate, that we can look at the issues and believe that at the core essence of this are traditional rulers. And what we're trying to do is to see how we can share knowledge where public relations tools can be engaged in building lasting peace across the nation. So whether it is corporate social responsibility, whether it is sponsorship, whether it's community relations, public relations have the tool or possess the tools that can engage in you delivering better in terms of ensuring sustainable and lasting peace. The theme of this year's gathering is food security from policy makers to public place, the public relations imperatives. It speaks to a national priority, but beneath the theme lies a deeper truth. No policy can succeed without peace. No agricultural system can thrive amid instability, and no communication, however strategic, can substitute for trust where it is absent. Your Royal Highnesses, you are the original communicators. Long before modern media, before digital platforms and policy frameworks, your institutions sustained dialogue, mediated conflicts, and preserved cohesion within communities. You remain the most credible bridge between government intentions and grassroots initiatives. Thank you. It is in this light that the essence of today's gathering becomes even more profound. How the revered institution of traditional leadership can consciously infuse the tools and discipline of public relations in its already powerful influence. Public relations at its core is about trust, clarity, and consistency of communication. These are principles your Royal Highnesses have practiced for generations. But in today's complex and fast-moving information environment, they must be applied with renewed structure and intentionality. Permit me to humbly suggest a few pathways. First, strategic communication, ensuring messages of peace, coexistence, and food security are not only delivered but deliberately failed. Secondly, human management and crisis response in an age where misinformation spreads rapidly. And thirdly, stakeholders engagement, working more closely with the government, the media, civil society, and professional communicators. And lastly, community listening systems. Let me also talk about storytelling for unity. That is something that we all must adopt. Your Royal Highnesses, this is not about replacing tradition with modernity. It's about strengthening tradition with tools that amplify and impact. As we prepare for Nigeria Public Relations Week 2026, your Royal Highnesses will seek your partnership in all the ways, critical ways that we have mentioned. In closing, I wish to reiterate our appreciation for your time, your guidance, and your continued commitment to peace. We look forward to your counsel, and to your blessing as we undertake this important national assignment. At this point in time, please let me acknowledge the support that we have gained from the state government of Kaduna, right from His Excellency, the commissioners that are here, and all members of the state government. I thank you, and may peace continue to reign in your name and across our dear country. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
That is a wonderful opening remark. Let's celebrate that remark, please, by giving our chairman organizing committee a round of applause. Thank you. Please, the cameraman, can you shift a little so that our royal fathers will have full view of what is happening here? Please, very sorry for that. Quickly, let me acknowledge the presence of Permanent Secretary Information Kaduna State. You're welcome, sir. By the agenda, we are going to go to the next, which is addressed by the Honorable Commissioner. However, I was made to understand he is here on two strong pillars that we should a little bit done because he's going to come twice, so let's match the two. I hope that is granted. So quickly, we will go to a presentation on Kaduna Peace Model by Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Information and Culture, Kaduna State, Madam Ahmed Meliaki, ANIPR. Welcome to the podium, sir. Easy.
No signal. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State and the Chief Hosts of the 2026 NPRW Week, ably represented by no other person than the Honorable Commissioner of Local Government Affairs, who is also in charge of the traditional institutions in Kaduna State, my elder brother, Honorable Sadiq Muhammad Lagos, Your Royal Highness, my father, the Emir of Zazzau, Ambassador Ahmad Nuhu Moballi, CFR, our guest speaker, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kaduna, and also the former chair of the Kaduna chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, the president and the vice president and other council members of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, our royal fathers, your royal highnesses and chiefs, and of course my own other elder brother, who is the former president of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and also a very senior colleague who have served as the spokesperson of about 3 governors in Kaduna State, Madam Surajo, and then of course the chief press secretary, His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, who is also my elder brother, Malam Ibrahim Musa, my colleagues, members of the press, members of the National Institute of Public Relations, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are still morning. Well, while the Secretariat is trying to put up the slide for my presentation, and I think for what of time, I will just continue with what I have here. When you are ready, you can project. But in the interim, we have to go ahead to do what we are tasked to do. I've been tasked to present what Kaduna Peace Model is about. And I titled this presentation as Kaduna Peace Model, From Fear to Hope, the Role of Traditional Leaders. Now, I wish we were able to project this slide because it gives us the gloomy picture of what Kaduna was before the Kaduna Peace Model. What Kaduna was in the years before May 2023. From records, it is clear that we had a very gloomy picture between 2015 and 2023. Kaduna had recorded 1,160 security incidents, resulting to 4,876 deaths. In 2021 alone, over 1,000 people were killed, over 3,348 were kidnapped, about 891 others suffered different degrees of injuries. In the first 3 months of 2022, to bring it closer so that you understand clearly what we're talking about, in the first 3 months, between January and March of 2022, 360 people were killed, with another 1,399 abducted. Our farmers deserted their farms, several schools were closed, several health facilities were also closed down within this period under review. At that point, Kaduna symbolized insecurity and fear. Kaduna was placed at a red zone, restricting travels from across the world. Just like the last presentation of the National Planning Committee Chairman, YDO stated, if you are outside northern Nigeria, people are scared of coming to Kaduna State and part of the north. Communities like Birnungwari, like Giwa, like Kajuru, like Kauru and Kachia were some of the front lines with high fatalities, which suffered ranges of 400 to 800 lives per area over this 8 years period under review. There comes the Kaduna Peace Model with the assumption of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Malam Ubasani, CON. The Kaduna Peace Model was passed in exactly 2024. after he had assumed office in 2023. The Kaduna Peace Model, as an overview, is a community-driven peace framework based on trust, based on inclusion between government and indeed the communities. It integrates community engagement, early warning systems, interfaith cooperation, security partnerships, and inclusive governance to build long-term peace and security through non-kinetic approach. You remember, and even currently, the fight against insecurity, whether terrorism or banditry, the fight has always been with the boots on the ground, fighting insecurity with guns. The non-kinetic approach is an attempt to integrate what government is doing, what the traditional institutions are also doing, what religious leaders are also doing in their domains, and of course, what security agencies and other key stakeholders in communities are doing. The guiding principle of this model is that you cannot bomb peace into existence. You must build it with trust. Community members from the domains of your Royal Highnesses can only do that when government gives an opportunity for an inclusive engagement by community members. The non-kinetic peace building strategy, transforming security landscape of the state. Distinguished guests, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Kaduna Peace Model is being done in a joint partnership with the Office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja, in an attempt to institutionalize the system. As you know, that security is part of the exclusive list of the federal government of Nigeria. So as a state, you cannot implement any model without, of course, working very closely with the Office of the National Security Advisor. And that, of course, brings into play how His Excellency the Governor was able to ensure the coordination and partnership and collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor at the federal level, so that it becomes an institution and the framework is clear with the mandate by the security agencies to implement clear roadmap for achieving peace in our communities. The focus of the Kaduna Peace Model is on intelligence gathering, on dialogue, and of course engagement rather than mix. Non-kinetic processes of engaging community members rather than using the boots to attack criminals. And through this engagement, at the initial stage of the model, I'm happy to report to you that over 500 captives that were kidnapped in the period I have mentioned between 2015 and 2023 were released through negotiations without payment of ransom. Of course, this dialogue led to a number of demands. In communities where we were adversely affected by this insecurity of banditry and other forms of criminality, there were discussions about reopening markets, reopening schools, and of course giving access to the healthcare system in our communities. But of course, government was very firm in this dialogue and negotiations by staying firm without paying any dime to any bandits or criminal. Because as you pay money to bandits, you are encouraging and empowering the bandits to attack our communities. That led to trust building, because for community members to agree to go into discussions and dialogue, definitely you must build trust to turn what was hostile in these communities to a cooperative system that will ensure dialogue leading to what we are able to achieve. Your Royal Highness, permit me at this point to acknowledge the role of His Royal Highness the Emir of Kaduna, whose domain was used in piloting the Kaduna Peace Model. In his community, the Kaduna Peace Model was implemented, and that led to a lot of success, to reopening of markets and also schools and health centers. Other communities in Giwa, which is also part of the domain of His Royal Highness, the chairman of the traditional leaders and chiefs of Kaduna State, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, also was part of the key places where dialogue and Kaduna Peace model was implemented. Part of Kouru, Kajuru, and Chikun were clearly involved in these processes. And then, of course, like I have said, there are attempts, effort by the state government to ensure the institutionalization of this model with a clear framework. Because one of the key issues, that we have been working very hard as a nation is to ensure our traditional rulers are given clear responsibilities and roles in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His Excellency Governor Obasani is committed to this, and of course, the federal government of Nigeria has shown beyond any doubt that our traditional rulers are going to be clearly involved in the constitutional provision of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So is the Kaduna Peace model, so that it becomes an institutionalized framework with clear rules for the emirs. And through these sustained gains, efforts also included for us to ensure there is an early warning system. Because for you to mitigate conflict, you must be able to mitigate through early warning systems and early response. Kaduna State Government, in collaboration with the UNDP, will be able to operationalize the conflict early warning and early response systems in August 2023, very few months after the assumption of office of His Excellency the Governor. And within the period after implementing this early warning system, what happens with the early warning and early response system is that there are signs or early warning signs or red flags that signifies either a break of law and order or insecurity or any form of conflict in communities. So at that point, we are able to detect and mitigate even before the occurrence of conflict. And we had about 65 conflicts reported since the operationalization of that system. And of this number, I'm happy to report, Your Royal Highnesses, that over 60 were successfully addressed within 3 months of reporting, avoiding any form of escalation in communities. Distinguished guests, Royal Highnesses, I'm also happy to report that with this system, since the assumption of His Excellency the Governor in 2023, Kaduna State have not had any form of violent conflict in the last 3 years. And I think this deserves commendation and applause to His Excellency. The issue of conflict has become an issue of the past. So through this early warning system, conflict and crisis are detected, and through alternative dispute resolution, issues are resolved between communities without any form of escalation. Distinguished guests, permit me to acknowledge the role of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau. I know since his installation as the Emir of Zazzau, he has always committed himself on a weekly basis to listen to issues of conflict from community members, to listen to conflicts between farmers and herders, to listen to conflicts that are also either social or criminal. And I'm sure that is also happening across our traditional institutions. And that has reduced the ideas of conflict in our communities, reducing cases in courts, and that's also addressing the challenges we have in our courts, addressing number of cases, because we do not have alternative means of resolving conflict. We must go to court, and that is leading to a lot of adjournment of cases in courts. But with this system, by the traditional rulers, we've been able to address quite a number of conflicts even before it leads to either conflict or even going to court for adjudication. It is very important as we invite our Royal Highnesses to engage in this conversation. I want to report to the NIPR that our leaders, our traditional rulers, are already playing this role. And of course, they are playing this role under the very close coordination of the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government, who is in charge of the traditional institution in Kaduna State. Please let's put our hands together for this effort. Now, what are the visible impacts? What are the quick wins? What are the results of this very important Kaduna model? You recall, at one point, it was very difficult to come to Kaduna from Abuja. It was nearly impossible to go to Birnungwari. At least I know people that travel to Birnungwari going through Mina, Tagina, traveling 9 hours before they get to Kaduna because it was nearly impossible to go to Kaduna because of the uncertainty and insecurity of that. It was nearly impossible to travel to southern Kaduna and parts of southern Kaduna without being attacked. Kaduna became an epicenter of kidnapping, so it was nearly impossible to come to Kaduna. But I'm happy to report to you today that with the Kaduna Peace Model and the effort of His Excellency, Kaduna is a safe place to travel. At least this morning, the president of NIPR and his delegation traveled all the way from Abuja to Kaduna without any. NIPR are witnesses, delegates that are coming from across the country and the African continent can also testify that Kaduna is safe. You can travel to Birnungwari at any time you choose to travel. If you have any challenge, it's because you have bad tires or you have challenges with your engine, but not the safety of the road to Birnungwari. I'm also happy to report that there is a revival of normal life activities in Giwa. There is a market in Giwa that holds every Thursday. In that market, you have people coming from neighboring African countries, from Niger, from Cameroon, from Chad. If you go to Giwa today, that market is already Muslim because it is no longer unsafe to go to Giwa. In Birnungwari, I'm also happy to report there is a market that holds every Thursday. That market is back again. There's an average transportation of about 40 trucks to 50 trucks of livestock to Lagos and other southern states of Nigeria. I'm also very happy to report to you that with the Kaduna Peace Model and return of peace and security, 535 schools have been opened. Over 192 health facilities were also reopened. Over 500,000 hectares of farmland were recovered for our farmers to go back to the farms. And this is closely related to the main theme of this important conference that is talking about food security in our communities. Distinguished invited guests, part of the visible impact was the movement of Kaduna State from the red to amber by the UK government. Because before now, like I've stated, people do not come to Kaduna. Kaduna have been designated as a red zone, so even foreign direct investment was quite difficult, and people do not come to Kaduna because it was unsafe. But today, with the return of peace through the Kaduna Peace Model, the UK government have designated Kaduna, have moved Kaduna from red rating to amber, meaning that UK nationals can come to Kaduna without any fear, like it used to be in the past. I'm also very happy to report to you that Kaduna, based on this effort, has been ranked as the second ease of doing business state in Nigeria. We're only second after Lagos. Kaduna has been rated also as the first in the ease of doing business in northern Nigeria. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report to you as at today, through this effort of His Excellency the Governor, Kaduna have attracted an investment, both foreign direct and domestic investment of over $3.5 billion to Kaduna. This club, Your Royal Highnesses, I will request that the chairman should permit me to request that our chiefs and Royal Highnesses should put hands together for His Excellency the Governor for what he has been able to achieve in the last couple of years. Of course, Looking at the return and the reopening of our schools and our hospitals, let me tell you what that means to our people. At least access have been restored to education, to healthcare, to livelihoods of our people. Communities have reclaimed dignity and resilience. You remember in recent past, these criminals have their own administrative tax system that they run our communities. Today, our communities have reclaimed that dignity through resilient engagement. For every child that goes back to school is a proof that dialogue can defeat fear. For every woman that have access to healthcare is an end to maternal death. Distinguished invited guests, I'm unhappy to report to you that Nigeria accounts for 10% of the maternal death burden in the world. Now, with these huge numbers, about 60 to 70% of this people reside in northern Nigeria. The insecurity that has bedeviled our communities have continued to compound the challenges of maternal deaths. And it is for that reason that most of our health facilities and general hospitals have been closed down. But today, in the Kaduna Peace model, with the opening of 535 schools, with the opening of about 200 health facilities, our women today have access to healthcare system. And that is leading to about 17.7 reduction in maternal death within the last 3 years under the leadership of His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna. That is no mean achievement, and we must acknowledge what His Excellency is doing. Because the Kaduna Peace model is improving in our educational system, is also improving our health system, is improving the economic prosperity, and reducing rural poverty. The poverty, burden in our country, or particularly in our state in the north, accounts that we are not only poor, but multidimensionally poor. Now, when we say a community or a people are multidimensionally poor, we mean they have setbacks in education, they do not have access to education, they do not have access to health, they do not have access to security, and of course, they do not have access to shelter. And the insecurity has exposed our people to these 4 major indicators. Because our schools were closed down, our hospitals were closed down, they do not have shelter. Because most of our communities in the past, which some of you will testify, will have to go to the bush and sleep on trees at the height of insecurity. But today we're happy to report that our communities are back in their homes, their children are back in school, their women and wives and children have access to healthcare in our hospitals. For every farmer that returns to farm is an improvement in food security and of course economic prosperity and an end to poverty among our people. Like I have mentioned earlier, why the Kaduna Peace model is working is because there is shared ownership. Communities themselves are involved in implementing this model. We do not sit down in sarcastic Ibrahim house to dictate communities how peace should be run. Peace must be participatory, and that's why the Kaduna Peace model is so unique. And states around northern Nigeria are working very closely to ensure its implementation in their respective states. As you know, Kaduna State is bordered by about 8 states and the FCT. So whatever happens in these neighboring communities have a direct bearing with our communities, particularly our communities that neighbor these local governments where they have not done or they have not been able to achieve safety in their communities. Of course, with the revival of markets, schools, and clinics, we are addressing the root causes of this criminality. And part of the decision to address the root causes is the Governor Obasani's youth empowerment agenda. He has established a skill acquisition center across Kaduna State. It was commissioned in June last year by the President for the Southern Senatorial to ensure balance. And it is designed to train 32,000 youths every year. Because you cannot address the issue of insecurity without providing our youth with jobs. Some of these issues of criminality is as a result of lack of jobs by the number of our youths in our community. The idea is to train them, and these courses that is being done. If you visit the center in Kaduna, currently in and all the centers across Kaduna, trainings are ongoing for our youth, and I'm sure that is one of the places that will be taking our delegates to visit in the course of this conference. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have a quote, some cases, isolated cases in our communities. Like I have said, Kaduna is bordered by 8 states from the north, from the south. From the north is bordered by Kano, by Bauchi, by Katsina, by part of Plateau, Nasarawa, and then City. We are bordered by Niger State, by part of Zamfara, and then of course Katsina State. You can imagine when you have cases across these communities that borders with our community, of course, and the state is working very hard. Across the state, already Kaduna state government is part of our early warning system and early response, and that is working tremendously with Kaduna. But we are of course of the view, and the Office of the National Security Advisor is also working very hard to ensure that states with challenges of insecurity implement the Kaduna peace model as it suits them, so that we are able to engage with our communities and address the challenges of insecurity. Peace sustained daily as foundation for long-term stability. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Your Royal Highness, the Chairman of Traditional Rulers and Chiefs in Kaduna State, at this point is, of course, we know you've been playing very important roles. I have mentioned the role of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, that is doing across his domain. I have also acknowledged the effort of His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kaduna, and I also, of course, acknowledge the various roles played in our domains. But by my presentation, I have some recommendations of what we expect our traditional rulers to also play in our communities, just like it has been done in Birnungwari and other domains. Your Royal Highness, we expect that traditional leaders will serve as partners in this building, not just as observers. And I know you are playing that role already. We want to most sincerely, on behalf of the state government, acknowledge and appreciate your effort, your sacrifices, your commitment in addressing these challenges. We also expect that we work, which you are already doing, in intelligence gathering. His Royal Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, has always shown and demonstrated leadership by engaging and involving himself in engaging with communities. I am also very aware, I acknowledge that role is also being played by His Royal Highness, the Emir of Birnungwari, and of course other emirs that are here, particularly areas where we have challenges of insecurity, like the Emir of Kaduna. We know he's playing a very important role in addressing some of the challenges in this area. The Agon Adara, who is also a very key traditional ruler, is playing that role not only in Kachia and also even in Kachuru in addressing some of the peculiar challenges that we have in our community. We also expect traditional leaders to promote inclusive dialogue, peace building, and tolerance among the subjects in your domain. We expect that the highlight of socio-economic dividends of peace is further promoted for our people to know. Like I have mentioned, the early warning and conflict-sensitive mechanism. I want to say I will urge my colleague and of course the chairman of the Honorable Commissioner of Local Government Affairs for us to work very closely to further domesticate the issue of the early warning system in our respective traditional domains, so that we're able to implement the issue of early warning and early response system in our communities. My final slide. Are we here? So the final slide, which is the takeaway. Distinguished invited guests, before somebody reminds me that my time is up, let me quickly take my light slide. Now, the Kaduna peace model proves that security without humanity is insecurity in disguise. That dialogue, inclusion, and development remain the surest path to peace. That in Kaduna today, the roads are open and hope is audible. Again, thank you very much, distinguished guests, Your Royal Highnesses, and of course, His Excellency, who is here, heavily represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government. Let me also acknowledge, in the course of presentation, I think the MC, who is trying to command our traditional institution, please be warned in the engagement. Let me also acknowledge the chairman of Kaduna, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Alhaji Sani Rabi Babu, who is here partnered to attend this event. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. I work with many of my people. Whoever is here and the name is given to me, certainly I will acknowledge that name. Thank you for being a powerful speaker and also part of anchoring the program. I think based on this presentation, based on what we have been told about the Kaduna model of peace and what our traditional leaders and fathers are doing, the commissioner deserves a very loud applause. Can we please clap for the commissioner? Thank you. Quickly, without wasting much time, we have received loaded presentation, and we are about to receive another highly and royally loaded presentation from none other than our father, His Royal Highness Alhaji Zubair Jibril Maidari II, Fellow, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and the area of Birnin Valley, who is going to give us a presentation titled Traditional Rulers as Communication Anchors, the Architecture of Community Relations, Peace Building, and Development. We all please acknowledge him while he is coming to present his paper. Thank you all.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Your Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Your Royal Highness, Enya Obzozo, Chairman of the Traditional Leaders Council of Kaduna State, distinguished traditional rulers present here, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Culture. It is indeed a very nice and pleasure for me to stand once again under the auspices of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to speak on something that is very vital and important for the country. The topic, as you've all known, is about peace and the impact and the place of traditional institutions in maintaining peace and order in the country. So I'm deeply honored to deliver this address at a forum that is not only intellectually significant, but also structurally necessary within the evolving governance and peace architecture of the country. The invitation extended to me was conveyed in a correspondence on 8th April 2026, a recognition that traditional leaders are not peripheral actors, but central nodes within the communicative institutional framework of peace building, development, and state-society relations. The thing before us, Your Royal Highnesses and distinguished guests, traditional leaders as communication anchors, the architecture of community relations, peace building, and development, requiring an engagement that is both theoretically grounded and empirically informed. It's called for rethinking of traditional leadership beyond ceremonial symbolism. It was a more rigorous understanding of its embeddedness with what contemporary scholars describe as hybrid governance system. Distinguished audience, research scholarship across Africa has consistently demonstrated that traditional leaders occupy a structurally strategic position between the state and the community. They function as development intermediaries, mediating the flow of resources, information, and legitimacy between formal institutions and local populations. This intermediary position is not accidental. It is historically produced and socially sustained through a system of legitimacy rooted in custom, spirituality, and collective identity. This dual embeddedness creates that what may be termed as communicative advantage. Traditional leaders possess the rare capacity to translate state intentions into culturally intelligible meaning while simultaneously articulating community demands in form that can influence policy process. In this case, they are not merely participants in governance, they are co-producers of governance outcomes. However, to fully appreciate this role, one must move beyond functional descriptions and engage with theoretical framework that explain how and why the research in this matter and peace building. Conflict transformation theory is articulated by one of the thinkers, lecturer, and applied in the real context provides a useful lens. It emphasizes that sustainable peace is not achieved through the cessation of violence alone, but through the transformation of relationships, narratives, and social structures. Crucially, it identifies local particularly those with legitimacy and cultural embeddedness as indispensable agents of transformation. Similarly, society identity theory gives insight into the dynamics of intergroup relations. In plural societies such as Kaduna State, where identities are multiple and sometimes contested, traditional leaders play a critical role in shaping collective identities, moderating intergroup perceptions, and reducing the salience of divided boundaries. When these theoretical perspectives are situated within the state, the significance of regional leaders becomes even clearer. The linguistics represents a complex social political landscape characterized by ethnic plurality, religious diversity, and historical concentration. In such an environment, conflict is rarely the product of single factors. Rather, it emerges from layered interactions involving identity, resource competition, political representation, and communicative breakdowns. The representative model, which forms the focal point of this work, must therefore be understood as an attempt to institutionalize a multi-layered approach to peace. It implicitly acknowledges that state-centric top-down interventions are insufficient, particularly where we fail in civil institutions and local knowledge systems. Empirical studies in Nigeria reinforce this position. Research from Karawati, for instance, demonstrates that formal stability interventions often fail due to their limited understanding of local context and the exclusion of traditional leaders whose proximity to communities provide critical intelligence, trust, and culturally grounded conflict resolution mechanism. This finding resonates strongly with the United States. Permit me to state this within large branches in the world. The crisis in the world is not merely a breakdown of security. It was a breakdown of communication, trust, and institutional coherence. The gap between state narratives and community experiences created a vacuum within which misinformation, fear, and conflict escalated. The intervention of traditional leaders, therefore, was fundamentally communicated before it was administered. First, traditional leaders constituted dialogue spaces, as was reported by the Commissioner for Information. In context of protracted conflict, dialogue is often replaced by unilateral assertions and hardened positions. By convening stakeholders across the divide, the traditional leaders restored the possibility of conversation, negotiation, mutual negotiation. Between 2004 to date, in January, we held meetings with Fulanis, with police, army, farmers, traders. We met about 6 times. We sat down and resolved some of the issues. Secondly, engaging in culturally grounded mediation. Empirical studies have shown that the regional conflict resolution mechanism, including open hearings, symbolic restitution, and layered reconciliation processes, are often more legitimate and effective than formal application in local contexts. These mechanisms are not merely procedural. They are embedded within shared cultural frameworks that give them normative force. Third, regional leaders function as early warning systems. Their proximity to the grassroots enables them to detect emerging tensions before they escalate. This aligns with finding that regional institutions serve as fast responders in conflict environments, often addressing disputes before they reach formal institutions. Fourth, the traditionalism contributed to narrative construction. Conflict is sustained by competing narratives that entrench the belief. Traditional leaders, through their moral authority, can promote alternative narratives centered on a coexistence and shared destiny and collective survival. While acknowledging these contributions, it is necessary to confront the structural constraints that limit the effectiveness of traditional leaders. Across Nigeria, studies consistently identify challenges such as constitutional ambiguity, political interference, limited resources, and insufficient integration into formal governance framework. Additionally, there is evidence of decline of authority in some contexts, particularly among younger populations, as well as the impact of modernism in society. These challenges are not merely operational, they are systematic. They reflect a deeper tension within African governance system, where indigenous institutions are simultaneously relied upon but marginalized. This brings us to a critical point. The Kaduna model cannot achieve its full potential without restoring this structural contradiction. If traditional leaders are effectively excommunicating others, this prophetic imperative must be addressed. First, there must be institutional integration. Traditional leaders should not operate in margins of security and development frameworks. Their roles must be clearly defined using legal and policy structures, including participation in local and communities. Secondly, there must be capacity enhancement. While traditional leaders possess cultural legitimacy, the contemporary conflict environment requires additional competencies in mediation, negotiating, and strategic communication, including engagement with digital media systems. Engagement with digital media ecosystem. Third, there must be collaborative governance. Evidence from Northern Nigeria demonstrate that partnership between traditional leaders and non-governmental organizations enhance peace-building outcomes by combining local legitimacy, expertise, and resources. The Kaduna benefit from institutionalizing such collaboration. Distinguished audience, this relationship between peace building and development, particularly in the context of food security, further underscores the importance of effective communication. Conflict disrupts agricultural system, displaces population, and undermines economic productivity. However, beyond this material effect, it also disrupts the flow of information necessary for development. Farmers require access to timely and reliable information regarding security, markets, and government programs. Regional leaders are communication anchors, play a critical role in ensuring that such information is disseminated, understood, and acted upon. In this sense, the transition from policy paper to public plate, as articulated in the broader conference, is fundamentally a communicative process. Without effective communication, policies remain abstract and development remains unrealized. In conclusion, the central argument of this address is that traditional leaders occupy a structurally indispensable position within the architecture of peace, community relations, and development. Their role as communication anchors is not incidental, it is foundational. Kaduna State, through its peace model, has taken an important step in recognizing this reality. However, recognition must be followed by institutionalization, support, and continuous adaptation to changing socio-political condition. The task to us is not to romanticize territorial relationship, but to rigorously integrate it into contemporary governance in ways that enhance both legitimacy and effectiveness. May Allah guide our deliberations, grant us wisdom in our engagements, and bless Kaduna State, Nigeria, with enduring peace, justice, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
I'm most proud. After receiving a loaded paper from the Commissioner of Information, we now receive an intellectually savvy presentation from our Royal Father. I think Your Royal Highness, sir, Secretary, I don't think we have done justice to our father by not applauding him. We need to applaud our father. Why am I saying this? You can see he is in touch with reality, and his presentation is not only theoretical, it is intellectually savvy and practically grounded. Please, may we give him another round of applause. Allah ya kara lafiya, Allah ya jawa. Now, I think to do justice to our friends, after receiving these two lofty presentations, we need to have a small performance so that we will come back and assimilate more from what we have had and what we will also hear. Okay? So, now it is time for us to have some little cultural performance. The cultural food, please, can you make your way in? We await the cultural performance. I don't know where they are coming from. Are they coming from the gate of India? Are you sure? And because they should give them way to come in. The cultural performance, when I tell you who? And meanwhile, don't forget, after this short cultural interlude, a panel discussion to be moderated by our able immediate past president, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Madam Dr. Zubairu Suraju. Yes, cultural performance, Nigeria. Thank you very much for this cultural performance. Sorry for omitting that side. This performers are from Kaduna State Ministry of Arts and Culture Information. Sorry. I was about to use a popular associate. I hope the NIPR president to allow me to that and the chair of the organization. We say Asharwa Akoma aiki. So Musharwa yanzu mun dawo aiki insha Allah. Let's appreciate them also for that cultural performance. Quickly, without wasting much time, we are going to panel of discussion, and the perspective of the discussion by this panel is on what? On peace, food security, and social stability. The Kaduna Peace Model. And the moderator for this panel discussion is none other than our capacitated Madam Zubairu Mukhtar Surajo, FNIPR, and the immediate past president, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations. Sir, permit me to welcome you here, and when you come, you will invite your panelists, and we will have the panel discussion. Thank you very much. Can we have the mic for them, please? Okay, don't worry. I should move the podium. Mic for the chair of the panel, please. Yes? But be careful with this careful please. Anyway, or you want me to move it? Yes, yes, okay. His Excellency, the Governor of the States, ably represented by my brother. I was going to say my retired brother, but we are made of the Honorable Commissioner Local Government, Sadiq Muhammad Davis. Your Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, Chairman of the USA Council, Your Highnesses, Emirs and Chiefs of Kaduna State, sorry, my younger brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, the President and Chairman of Council, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, my brother, and my successor, in whom I am amply proud and pleased, the Vice President, members of Council that are here, Chairman of the National Planning Committee, my younger brother, Chairman Kaduna Fiscal Commission, Sani Rabi Babo, Allah Baba, permanent secretaries and other senior government officials that are here, other members of the entourage rather, of revered and respected traditional rulers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before I proceed, I have some liabilities to declare. Before I came here this afternoon, I was actually a sinner, left, right, and center to some of my fathers. So I deliberately reported myself in silence in India, area of Kaduna and area of Jama and the Pop. So I want this house to join me in celebrating the fact that I was instantly forgiven. Your Highnesses, I want to express my appreciation. Brother Kairaba. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, whoever thought of making the area of Birmingham the lead speaker here must have been a genius, because it is very ingenious. Because he's somebody who has lived off worlds, has lived in the communication world, and he's living the traditional rulership world at the moment. So he has said, or whatever he says stands. And the paper he presented, no short, but it's not just loaded, it is overloaded. I was actually trying to catch up with the flow. At some point I got lost, but I have been able to come up with some issues that we really need to cogitate over and actually see what we can do to ensure that the traditional rulers, especially in this part of the country, because when the white man came, it is a historical imperative. It is a historical fact that when the white man came, he found a system established here. He didn't have to create any new system, he didn't have to create any new leadership. He just detailed into the traditional institutions that we met here, moved through it. And it was quite successful. I believe things began to go south after the local government reforms of, I think, 1976. Even though earlier than that, traditional rulers had been divested in the roles of the state. But I know that there used to be a time, history of, particularly this part of the country, when areas had real powers, when they were in control of their communities, where intelligence gathering, monitoring criminal activities, and checking it were actually slightly more difficult than tea parties, because they had representatives right across all over the place, and both vertically and horizontally. Because I know the Mayambua, the Makaita, the Sarakai, the Hakumai, all had layers in such a way that any new person coming into the community, before he knew it, the traditional institution knew who they were, where they were coming from, what they were doing for a trade, what else they want to do, and who to hold responsible should anything go wrong. But after the so-called reforms and the, if you like, of the traditional institutions of such farms, we are where we are today. And I believe, I know that there have been calls several for the recognition rather of the traditional institutions and the embedding, if you like, of their roles in a constitutional manner of speaking. Part of what I was able to glean from the presentation of Iwari, His Highness, is not in any order, which I believe we need to discuss here, and I'm sure even outside panels, after they have finished their discussions, other respected traditional rulers would have an opportunity to chip in a word or two on what we ought to do or what we are not doing correct. Megwari said, and I agree, peace is not achieved by just mere cessation of violence. Sustainability through relationship transformations, structural strengthening, and change in narratives is important. And no institution has as much power to do that as the traditional institution. I'm sure you will agree with me. They used to, like I said, they used to have early warning signals, the example that I just gave. And Megwari too made allusion to the fact that the building quality issue was not just a breakdown of security. It was more a breakdown of communication, trust, and institutional coherence. The communicator that area of Megwari is, he brings the communication angle straight into it, arguing that the role of traditional rulers before now was more communicative than, in fact, later transformed into administrative. But communication is the central word here. And their intervention, especially in communal conflicts, and any student of history of the role of traditional institution in conflict resolution will have no option but to agree with the area of Bengali that their roles in intervening in communal conflicts were more effective than judicial adjudications, because it was more informal, it was more personal and interpersonal than what have you. Because their moral authority, through it, we can also promote alternative narratives. Because we have allowed all sorts of narratives to fly around now without control, especially Now, with the advent of the social media where there are no gatekeepers, everybody that has a small device is an editor, not only a journalist. The constitutional ambiguity surrounding the role of traditional rulers is also something that we need to actually interrogate. And peace and security are so fundamental, and the traditional institution is also so fundamental that we cannot afford to have traditional institutions operating on the fringes of peace and security. This must have been able to glean from the presentation of any of the. So, to help us dissect these issues and more, it is my honor and privilege to respectfully invite to this place the top His Highness Colonel Paul Zakayo retired. His Highness Engineer Suleiman Umar Lere, Emir of Lere, and His Highness Mr. Titus Dauda Agom Ufana the First. Thank you very much. Your Royal Highnesses, we are here, we are listening to the presentation of area of Kaduna, and I tried to do a small analysis to note the points that have been raised. I want to start with His Highness in Popcorn. You have a microphone there, sir. And let's limit our interventions to 3 minutes on account of the fact that the areas and chiefs, some of them came from very far places and they need to go back to their domain. Sir, I'm starting with you, and I want to take you up on the issue of early warning signal and the role of intelligence gathering. I really this a little because you are a retired military officer. How do we improve? How do we work on the early warning signal that Honorable Commissioner raised? These are the roles that traditional rulers. Let me start by saying that I'm need to adapt the already protocol. We are here today because we want to discuss an issue that will bring peace and development in Kaduna State. We will go back our religion, be the Bible or the Quran. We understand that right from the beginning,
there was a leadership that was bestowed on humanity. And that Jesus was fulfilled to take over the land given to him and use it so that he could get food to sustain himself. That leadership leads us to the point where in the whole world there was rulership. And if you want to take one or two places where this leadership was well established, like in Egypt, what is about the children of Israel, they travel all the way from where they want to go and do for food. And there is no result, the certain people are in suffering. Now, if that is the case, in Nigeria today, we have gotten to a point where food security is becoming a big problem because of the nuance of for the users. We have people who do not understand everything about the life of the human being. But if we are able to go back to the leadership, traditional rulership, and why traditional rulership? Because the structure, it goes down to the household, where you have what we call the leader, and where you have the leader, where you have the village, and where you have the activity, and where you have the traditional. Now, from that structure, if you follow it down, you will the of that locality. Particularly where is you have thieves and so on and so forth. The traditional, the traditional relationship with people who are those people who are thieves because of the structure. And that structure is similar to what you have in the army, where you have a section like and so on. And if you want anything done, you go down to that stuff, do that stuff, do that stuff. No. And if it's not done, you have to put it where you are. And where the query goes and is rectified, you come back, you will go back to the normal way. In Kaduna State, there was a time. The traditional rulership ended from the district in the southern part of Kaduna. Somebody came up with a very brilliant idea, and so they knew it was open. And because we opened today, we have traditional rulers in the southern part of Kaduna who are managing up to now. We are really ready. For all observation, I think we want to know where you have the way, where you are, and there are only two.
Thank you. Those in charge of the logistics here, should we continue or is something being done? Is something being done? You can hear us. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if before we started I raised the issue of time. Yeah. Okay. So that we try as much as possible. I want to implore my fathers to be faithful to that time. Email, ladies. I am asking this question deliberately. How does how does the traditional institution ensure the sustenance of peace, the prevention of communal conflict as an enabler for improved food production? Why I say I'm deliberate is because I know Lere to be one of the biggest food baskets of the community, if not the highest. The mic?
Yeah. Tapi awal sudah sedang berarti sudah sedang berarti sudah dapat dari itu asal stand support to operationalize by the government. I think we have to be thankful to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala for making us good, making it possible to us to celebrate the week of and stores progress made in the city. So that peace restored certain areas and quite a lot of insecurity. The last 3 years, we have seen the domestic model of peace working to ensure that related peace has been found in these areas. Generally, you can say that people in these areas are found with their normal life, agriculture is thriving, natural area is thriving, and markets are growing. So we need to be grateful to God and Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to make it possible. Now, to the question of the role of traditional rulers sustain and maintain peace, social development, and production. I think this is something that has been very basis of Nigeria as a whole. Our role has always been to be community-based leadership that is anchored on ensuring stability and peaceful coexistence. In the case of areas where this has been achieved. We all know that Kaduna State is highly regarded warrant in terms of not only in the local governments, but many other local governments. I understand at one time the government said the GDP of Kaduna State is over 60% of the country. So we cannot allow agriculture to slide, or we cannot allow peace to threaten agriculture. Therefore, we are always supporting and collaborating with government to ensure that the peace is secured. My local government, the traditional institution has been very close to the group. Even before the communities model, I think the idea of inclusive dialogue, constant engagement with various communities to ensure that early warnings are seen in conflict and they are addressed is always a high priority. And we continue to do that. I can give you an example of various cases where all areas of local government are addressing security issues, even at the local government level, on a weekly or monthly basis, to address emerging warnings in us of security or conflicts. We are fully supporting government in terms of ensuring that this model is sustained. As has been said, it is not there, it is not connected, but it has to be supported by other means of ensuring that accountability and criminality is not allowed to thrive. Because that is one of the areas where we can have temporary security or peace, only to be terminated immediately by issues of lack of accountability to create that dimension in society. So we like continue to collaborate with the government, and I think the people of His Royal Highness Area of Everybody has highly emphasized areas of key concern or key impacts in the retention administration, which is maybe creating dialogue spaces at our various levels, as mentioned, emerging chief level, at the district level, and village level. There also has to be the construction of narratives, because a lot of the conflicts that arise are due to misinformation and building of wrong narratives. And to this extent, I think the NIPR also has a new role to play in developing such narratives that create environmental situation for companies. I don't need to mention details, but I think we have seen quite a lot of narratives in the same time in these countries, mostly propagated from outside Nigeria, being better. And this is very helpful in sharing peace and stability, particularly in sustaining what we have achieved through hard work in the university. So I would like to stop here. I would like to hope that this dialogue and this conference basis will engage us, increase our efforts at maintaining peace as a grassroots. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Agwa sir. They say the idle mind is the devil's workshop. We have platoons of youths that are not engaged in terms of out of school children. This is not very, very well. How does the traditional institution come in to arrest these groups and ensure that our youths are gainfully engaged? 3 minutes.
I want to stand on the well-established protocol, and by His grace, the little I will contribute is yes. And here,
human being who have leadership. And people
brought up in a
recognize, respecting that leadership will go a long way in achieving a lot of things in life. Nigeria is blessed with that structure. We have been brought up that way. If we adhere to it, but traditional rulership where I've said earlier, they know everybody and they'll bring everybody into line to be able to achieve a lot of things. If we do that, we will go a long way. And how do we do it? The structure from household up to the traditional ruler must be strengthened, must be equipped, must be encouraged to do that. If that is done, I'm sure through all that. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, yes, sir. How do you think that what do you consider as legal steps to help prevent communal tension from the point of view of the traditional?
Thank you. I think when you say communal tensions, talking about a part of life, because there is no way a community can exist without disagreement, without tension. What is society that be able to live successfully is that they are able to lead them with the fault. First of all, to identify them early and deal with them. The role of the traditional institution, as you see, historically has always been to ensure stability and peace in their communities. And the structure has existed, as we have been saying, repeatedly, even before the colonial era. Even the colonial system adapted it to ensure that they are able to live in peace and without much problem. So that structure is still existing. That system is still existing. And it's anchored on what I would call the language of identity of human rights. It's anchored on a culturally adapted education system. Because people who are in the locality understand that the mediation of the leader from the ground level to the village level to the district level are things that they can trust. And they are things that are not born out of selfish interest. We'll be able to ensure that the role of the federal institution in managing tensions is successful. That I think is what will keep us abreast with the situation, and that will be the way I think harness the influence of the federal institution in managing issues and conflicts. There are so many areas of conflicts as you know in our society, particularly in the state. One of the major ones, of course, is the competition for resources, particularly land and grazing land. I think a lot of the issues that we see emanate from competition for grazing land, grazing resources, and access to water resources. Now, historically, there are certain norms and practices that are recognized by the international institutions to allow that all these needs and resources are addressed amicably without hurting anybody. So I think this is what we have as two institutions that enable us to ensure that we maintain peace and harmony within our communities without hurting anybody. I think a lot of issues that we struggle to manage is with the visitors or strangers that move into our lands without our knowledge.
Without proper record of their intentions. And we need to continue to collaborate with the security agencies, with all the stakeholders to ensure that community and cause problems continually identified and addressed with it. So I think this is the kind of thing we can continue to do on managing intentions in society. Thank you.
I don't know for answer. 2 minutes. How about improving the synergy? What do you think about improving synergy between the traditional institution and security agencies?
Quickly, I will say this, that you bring everybody on board. In my community, Vala, nearly everyone has access to my phone number, so that whatever happens, anytime in the night, they call me. So you see, I now bring people on board. Then in turn, with the securities, also communicate with them what I receive from my people. So you see, that is the collaboration between us and the security. Again, we should not forget that since traditional rulers or traditional leaders stand in the intersection with the government or governance and the people, you need to establish a close relationship so that it will improve what you hear, what the security, and what also the other people will think about your community. Permit me to say this, that in my community, we have even a woman as a village head. So you see, we are trying to bring everybody together so that we can achieve one aim, which is peace. The securities are close to us, and that is why we stand for. I believe some people will learn from us, especially our neighbors. When I hear Megwani, I say, "What are Megwani we are in?" Since we need to take over. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Highnesses. I don't know. We have a few minutes for other areas and chiefs that are here who want to make one intervention or the other with respect to the topic that we are. That's what we're doing. So it's a Q&A stuff, but we want to start with the traditional rulers. But before we start, I want to complain to our traditional rulers. I want to report the NPRW president for making me moderate this session. You can see I am sweating and soaking. You know why? You have made me to be interrogating my fathers. It's not a tea party. So, Your Highnesses, the floor is open for you to chip in a word or two with respect to the topic that has been discussed. We want your inputs so that we will leave this hall richer. Please, yes, sir. Where are the mics? Please, may I suggest that we restrict our comments. We are not making speeches. We restrict our comments or answers. We are also free to ask questions of the members of the panel and, of course, the paper presenter His Highness Milwani. Please, I don't want to point at him. He raised his hand. Yeah. Please, if we can do that in a minute, sir.
My name is Chief Cyril Malano. I'm representing the Chief of the Guru, His Highness, before pockets. I just want to make one comment and observation. With due respect for our chairman, the Emmanuel. See, as far as I'm concerned, as a partaker of this institution is just like a school. If where I mean by a school, when you have a school, you don't have enough teachers, you don't have people who will give you professional advice, and you just try to slide them down. Let's say an issue straight ahead, like the issue of one may have a district chief or an area, and is given about 2 or 3 district heads, whereas this district cannot cover. Effectively, I want the government to look into it and make sure these things are doing it in a better way, so that those who are in authority can have it easy to work as traditional work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
The chairman, Council of Traditional Rulers, my name is Hassan, the of today, presenting the member of today. On my own point, I want to align myself with the outcome where the facial race, the role of traditional rulers, in peace security. It is from my own view that the constitutional amendment should be included for the traditional rulers to be part of the decision making. One, to have budgeting commission where the traditional rulers will have ample opportunity to enroll themselves in their chiefdoms and also in the state governments. 2, collaborations with the traditional with the security agencies. It is a very important issue there, where traditional institutions have to have the security agencies. I will give my example in our institute, that the training where we establish peace and security committee, where we are collaborating with the state, with the security agencies in order to provide security in our area. So I'm aligned with myself where the government should look inward to have a provision in constitutional amendment where traditional rulers have a very key role in administering the area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, go. This way. This way. Yeah.
The chairman of the Nigerian Institution of Public Relations, my able traditional rural chairman, the Emir of Tito, all emirs and chiefs here present. distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations for this opportunity to be here and to discuss issues relating to development and peace. First of all, I want to align myself totally to the presentation of the area of Kaduna. As far as the roles of traditional rulers are concerned, he has said virtually everything. In my own little contribution, getting peace is not having peace is not something that people can come by easily. We have to work for it. And the traditional rulers all over Nigeria are strategically stationed to ensure that there is peace in every corner of their respective territories. I'll give you an example. Anything bad happening in my own children, give it 10 to 10 years, the information will reach me. And from there, I'll be able to look who are the stakeholders. How can we arrest a situation? A simple test to convince ourselves of the role of the traditional action in Nigeria at that is the fact that this institution has transcended all regions in Nigeria. There is no region that can come up with a policy to wipe out the traditional institution. We, the traditional rulers and institutions, we are the backbone and development. So I want to call on the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. If we will have something to advance the government, participating out of this from one, it will be that they should talk to the government to give more engagement to the traditional rulers in order to have peace and development in Nigeria.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
As I already pointed out earlier, most of the traditional rulers are going back to their domains and time is far spent. I want to thank the area of Benue. I want to thank the panelists, and from the look of things, there are no questions. But I have some 5 or 6 takeaways that I've come to from the presentation of Benue and from the submissions of the panelists. One is that traditional rulers remain trusted institutions. Traditional institution remains trusted in our line. Peace drives food security. Early warning systems are essential. Youth engagement prevents unrest. Government traditional partnerships must deepen. And one vital point raised by one of the panelists is the need for additional districts, because before now there were more districts than now, and administration was more integrated. Now it is a little more difficult. So thank you very much, Your Royal Highnesses. I respectfully implore that you disengage from the platform. Thank you, sirs. This is as I also finally disengage.
Sorry, sir.
No, I think the man can have a photo opportunity up here.
President has to come, but Emir observes of two.
Yes, President.
And Emir observes of two. And the presenter of
the paper. The Maikari, the second sir, for the photo opportunity. Okay.
the Kaduna boy from Lagos.
I think to appreciate the moderator and the panelists for a job well done. Can we please have some applause for them? Thank you. They really managed time by engaging in the panel discussion and also incorporating the Q&A. Please, can we respectfully give him some applause as he's moving to the podium? Thank you. Commissioner in Kaduna from Lagos, we appreciate you. Your Royal Highness, the Chair of Kaduna State Traditional Rulers Council, and distinguished fellow of the Institute. It was the keynote address. Please can we have some quiet? Please can we have some quiet? I have had the opportunity of listening to all of you from the beginning of this program to date. I want to sincerely, from the depth of my heart, as President of the Institute of Public Relations, express our profound thanks to His Excellency the Governor for accepting for us to do this, because having interacted with the Governor, we know his heart cry. He wants to see a transformed Kaduna State. But he realizes that Kaduna cannot be transformed unless there is peace. Everywhere where peace is, development will take a flight. And he understands this. So when we saw it, we said we were going to have a repeat of what we did before. Like the chairman of the National Planning Committee said, we had this in Abeokuta, and the governor of Ogun State was very excited when we had the report of what transpired. And we now took it further to Yo. The governor of Akwa Ibom State was very excited. So when we came to Kaduna, we mentioned it to His Excellency the Governor, and we said this is what we have been doing, but of course we have to give us the green light to have this forum. And he said we should go ahead. This has given us the opportunity to interact, to see the heart of our royal fathers from this part of the country. We understand very clearly the place of Kaduna in Nigeria's history. We understand very clearly the place of Kaduna in nation building. Therefore, we are very excited to. It's not in this place. What he didn't know was that my father, and he was here for several years until he died in 1979. So if he died in 1979, that means he lived here before white people came to school. My father built 2 houses in Kaduna, one at number 1 for Carlos Road, as it was called then. Number 1 for Carlos Road was a house built by my father. He was here, lived here, raised his children here, and so on. Unfortunately, the unfortunate thing of 1967 happened. And that was the only reason why he left. Otherwise, he left southeast to come to this place, and he had home. And that was why you received him, you gave him land, you supported him, he built houses. So, coming to Kaduna, I am a citizen of this state, and I enjoy myself. Secondly, I have identified 8 critical things that you have raised. Number 1, build the right narratives and build it with effective communication framework. This is very important. Number 2, to build peace must be a deliberate and collective responsibility. It has to be deliberate, you have to desire to build peace. And when you desire it, you then have to make it a responsibility. And this is where, again, I want us to appreciate the work that the governor of the state has done through his policy of inclusive leadership. He came in and he discovered that there has to be an inclusive leadership, and we are seeing part of the result from what we have heard. Number 3, in building peace, we must build sustainable peace. And for peace to be sustainable, it must be based on community relations, because the traditional rulers are the nearest to the grassroots. And if there is no peace at the grassroots, there cannot be peace at the urban centers. And if there is no peace at the urban centers, there cannot be peace in the state. We take note of that. Number 4, build partnership for collaboration. No one, no community can do it alone. So there must be an effective collaboration. And the engine of this collaboration is the engine of partnership. I have that very clearly. Number 5, trust is one of the greatest assets in leadership. When leaders lose trust, they lose legitimacy. And when they lose legitimacy, they can only operate with authority. Authority can only come with force, but will lack legitimacy. So you're saying to leaders that trust is very important. And we take note of that. And as traditional rulers, trust is very key between you and the citizen, and then between the state. Number 6, build a structure, an effective structure for early warning signal. Because when that structure is very well established from the state down to the grassroots, you will always be able to know what's going on and know the right action to take, because the structure is there. Number 7, build relationship for grassroots development. There will not be development if there is no relationship. And this is one area that NIPR has something in common with traditional rulers, because you are agents of relationship, and we are agents of relationship. So this is where we meet ourselves. Remove relationship from anything. Whatever you're doing cannot stand. And I'm glad that our father, the Emma of Inquiry, understands it very well, because himself being a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, not a fellow by honorary, but a fellow by profession. So he understands very clearly what we are saying. And that's why I really want to thank you, sir, because your paper
Your paper is so rich, so rich. I kept marking and so on. Thank you very much. And so relationship is very important, and we need to build it. Finally, integration through cohesion and unity. We must know that Nigeria is one. We must know that Kaduna represents a critical component of Nigeria. That's why when you come here, it's like the melting point of the nation and of the north. Finally, as I conclude, listening to all this and listening what I have listed, I believe that the government has found a formula. And that formula is the Kaduna Peace Model. But you see, the strength of Kaduna Peace Model is in what I call inclusive leadership and strategic communication. The cardinal of your paper, sir, the that's the cardinal of your presentation. Inclusive leadership through strategic communication, so that we can build integration. That's one thing that is very outstanding. Number two, the time has come. And as I say this, I'm looking at the immediate president, I'm looking at the vice president, I'm looking at the chairman of the National Planning Committee of this, and all the other parties, that we will not do justice to Kaduna Peace Model if we allow it to just end here. We have to take this, and we have to advocate this, and we have to sensitize people that there is a model that is working in Kaduna. So how do we transform this into a viable national peace response? That's a question that we have to answer. And that is something that we have to put together. And I'm looking at the rapporteurs to make sure that they capture all the essentials. And then finally, we started an advocacy in Ogun State. We carried it to Akwa Ibom State, and listening here, we see it resonate again. And that is the concept of convening a national traditional rulers forum, where some of these things can now be made a national issue. NPRW, right in Congo 2 years ago, put our platform forward to do this. When we went to Akwa Ibom State, the governor said we should actually come back to Akwa Ibom State to have another program. And then we are here now, the same issues. So we are deciding, by the time we run it with the council, that we should now have a national traditional rulers council and forum rather, and we are going to do this in partnership with your institutions, so that we can begin to advance the advocacy in a manner that it can be understood. And we are hoping that His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, who is a very active person, will work with us, because he will soon be a patron of the Institute, and all the other patrons to come together to be the part that will carry this great assignment for traditional rulers all over the nation. I have a second assignment, which I want to do briefly, and that's item number 14. Conferment of Royal Ambassador of World Public Relations Forum on His Royal Highness Ambassador Amadu Amani. Before we do that, we are going to show a small video so that we understand the context. Your Royal Highness, last year, Nigeria was given the opportunity to host the World Public Relations Forum. World Public Relations Forum is the gathering of communicators all over the world. About 3,000 of them from 126 countries will be coming to Nigeria to discuss communication. This is the second time it is coming to Africa, and the first time it is. These are leaders who advise presidents, who advise governors, who advise large corporations on matters of communication, matters of reputation, matters of perception, and so on and so forth. They are coming to Nigeria. The president of the federal Nigeria has graciously accepted to be the chief host of this important forum, and the president of Zambia has also accepted to be the guest speaker, as well as other presidents and people from the United Nations, and so on and so forth. So what we've been doing is identifying those that we find very important in society, who will be the ambassadors of the World Public Relations Forum by their acts, by their deeds as icons. They represent what the forum represents all over the world. We got the first one, and that was on the 20th of October 2025, when the Esunpe became the first at Abuja. This is the second one, and it's now my pleasure, before I invite His Highness for us to briefly watch. Are we ready?
Put the mic, carry the mic to the laptop speaker. That's like, that's like.
Responsible communication, the voice of the world, hosted at the prestigious Transport Council in Abuja. This landmark forum will welcome delegates from over 126 countries into a powerful ecosystem of knowledge, insights, and influence.
More locally in Nigeria, Abuja, November 2026.
What awaits you? A world-class knowledge experience. Immerse yourself in a high-level environment of knowledge sharing, insightful learning, and engaging dialogues, shaping the future of communication. From learnings to academic sessions, every moment is designed to expand perspective and deepen expertise. Global conversations and thought leaderships take the center stage as you engage in strategic conversations on ethics, trust, sustainability, and the future of communication in a rapidly evolving cloud. Connect with global leaders, renowned speakers, and public relations icons in a truly rewarding networking environment where ideas meet opportunity and partnerships are forged. Prestige and recognition is sure as you witness excellence on the world stage at the Global Alliance Awards, celebrating outstanding achievements in public relations and communication across continents. The Afro Day celebration will be at its best, experience Africa's voice and influence through a dedicated Afro Day, honoring strength, diversity, and innovation of African public relations through high-level engagement and cultural significance. Our historic global unveiling awaits you. Be present. Unveiling of the first ever University of Public Relations and Leadership UPRL, and groundbreaking is the next generation of communicators through vibrant, youth-driven platforms, innovation hubs, and future-focused conversations. At WPRF, sports meets strategy, and a kickoff experience with exclusive golf and polo tournaments. Elite sports with high-level networking, culture, creativity, and crafts will be at its best. Get ready to immerse yourself in cultural showcases, fashion, and the entertainment village. Arts and crafts exhibitions will be celebrating Africa's heritage. The sights and sounds of Abuja is an experience never to forget. The unique 24-hour tailoring showcase and cultural fashion activation celebrating creativity, identity, and African craftsmanship with yours. Place. Why should you attend? At WPRF 2026, you will gain cutting-edge insights into responsible and ethical communication. You will participate in meaningful global conversations that shape industries. You have an opportunity to show your brand on the global stage and build powerful international networks. Be part of this historic milestone in the public relations profession. Experience the richness of Africa's culture, innovation, and hospitality. Nigeria's hosting of WPRF 2026 represents a defining global moment, positioning Africa at the center of conversations on trust, ethics, and the future of communication. Register now. Be part of the movement shaping the voice of the world. Secure your place today at www.wprf2026.niprng.org.ng. Join the global community this November in Abuja.
May responsible communication continue to light the path for Africa's transformation. No Wahala.
See you at WPRF 2026.
WPRF 2026. Welcome to Nigeria, the heartbeat of Africa, where the world meets, learns, connects, and leads. As we say, no Wahala.
So it's now my pleasure, thank you very much. It's now my pleasure and honor to invite His Royal Highness for his decoration as the second Royal Ambassador of World Public Relations Forum. May I also invite our father, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Wari, Fellow of the Institute, to join us in decorating His Highness. May I also invite the immediate past President, as well as the Vice President of NPR.
We invite the Commissioner of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs to witness this. Sir, please can you come up? The Honorable Commissioner, thank you. As the area is being conferred, here is a small citation of whom the conferment is on. Ambassador Madam Lua Ahmad Bamali is the chairman of Kaduna State Council of Traditional Rulers. He is a former Nigerian ambassador to the Kingdom of Thailand with concurrent accreditation to the Republic of the Union of Myanmar. He is also a former State Electoral Commission CFO, Kaduna State. He is a former Executive Director, Nigerian Security Printing and Meeting PLC, former Acting Managing Director, Nigerian Security Printing and Meeting PLC. Our revered traditional area or area of Zazzau is an alumnus of the great Ahmadu Bello University Zaria Faculty of Law, an alumnus of Oxford University, and an alumnus of Harvard University. Here is our area presented for the conferment. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Sir.
I think the conferment deserves the loudest applause we could muster. And
And I will give way to my president and chair to make a little speech about the confinement. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State here represented, Your Highnesses, it's our honor that this day, the very revered Royal Highness is now the second Royal Ambassador of the World Public Relations Forum. By the performance of this, it will now be transmitted to the headquarters of Global Alliance for Communication and Public Relations. Their headquarters in Portugal, and once this is over, it will be transmitted to them, where it will be in their system all over the world, in 126 countries. On this note, we congratulate you, sir, for the great work you have done for humanity, for which you are being recognized this day. Thank you for being a good friend of the relationship.
Thank you very much. On a quick succession, please, the area is going to give his own speech.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner of Local Government Affairs, Lagos, Commissioner for Information coming to us, the President and the Director of Public Relations, the Martaba Sarakin Jama'a, the Martaba Sarakin Dubai, also Martaba Saran Saravana, Saran Jama'a, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The day has come, and it is not time for long speeches. However, I'd like to give my remarks, which I think is not going to be very long. It gives me great pleasure to you all this very important presentation on the architecture of community relations, peace building, and food security. The choice of this topic is highly relevant and deeply connected to survival, stability, and prosperity of our people. And I'm very delighted to say here the choice of His Highness, the Emir of Birnubari, was the best thing that happened to us today. We diagnosed and also he was able to do a very terrific presentation, which is world class, and I appreciate you, Your Highness, for that to us. As traditional rulers who occupy a sacred position in our society, we are of our people's values, protectors of our heritage, and first responders in times of conflict, distress, and uncertainty. Our role goes beyond ceremony. It is rooted in service, mediation, guidance, preservation of harmony among our communities. This has all been captured in the speech of His Highness, the Emir of Dubai. Today's presentation reminds us that peace is not accidental. It is built deliberately, patiently, and inclusive trust, justice, dialogue, and mutual respect. The architecture of community relations must therefore be based on understanding, tolerance, equity, and willingness of all groups to live together in harmony despite differences. In Kaduna State, our diversity is one of our greatest. We are blessed with different ethnic groups, religions, cultures, and traditions. If properly managed, this diversity becomes a source of unity, innovation, and progress. But if neglected, it can become a source of suspicion, misunderstanding, and conflict. This is why responsibility placed on traditional institutions is enormous. We must continue to promote intercommunal dialogue, peaceful coexistence, and early conflict resolution at all levels. On the issue of peace building, let me emphasize that no meaningful development can take place in the absence of peace. Schools cannot function effectively, businesses cannot thrive, farmers cannot safely cultivate their lands, and young people cannot realize their full potential where insecurity and violence prevails. Peace building is therefore not an abstract idea, it is the foundation of development, unity, and social stability. As traditional rulers, we must continue to work closely with government, security agencies, religious leaders, civil society, and our communities to prevent conflicts, reduce tension, and encourage reconciliation. We must use our influence to speak against violence, hate speeches, reprisals, and all forms of conduct that threaten the unity of our people. The last item, which is food security, is equally vital and closely linked to peace. A hungry society is a vulnerable society. Food insecurity can deepen poverty, increase frustration, and create conditions for unrest. On the other hand, when our people can farm safely, transport their produce, access markets, and enjoy the fruits of their labor, peace and prosperity becomes more achievable. We must therefore support the initiative of Kaduna State government that protect farmers, encourage agricultural productivity, and ensure that our rural communities remain safe and productive. We should also promote local cooperation around land use, grazing, water resources, and market access, so that agricultural activities do not become sources of conflict, but rather instrumental of shared prosperity. My dear royal fathers, the challenge before us is to strengthen the bond among our communities and to ensure that every part of Kaduna State enjoys peace, justice, and development. We must lead by example. We must listen to our people. We must be fair in our counsel. We must be firm in the defense of peace and compassionate in the pursuit of reconciliation. Let me also appreciate the organizers of this presentation for choosing such an important topic. It is my prayer that the discussion will provide practical insights that will help us improve our efforts in building stronger communities, community relations, lasting peace, and sustainable food security across our state. As we proceed, let us remember that history will judge us not only by the titles we bear, we help to build, and the welfare we secure for our people. Once again, I welcome you all and wish you fruitful deliberation, which has already been done. May Almighty Allah continue to guide our steps, bless Kaduna State, bless our country, and may peace reign in our country. Thank you very much. On the other hand, I'd like to say a big thank you, to the Minister of Local Government, as well as also the Minister of Information, for organizing this very, very important event, which is timely, which I believe is a platform that we can speak to power. It is necessary for our people to reflect on why we are occupying this exalted position. To be able to speak the truth, to be able to convey, the feelings and also aspirations of our people at all levels and at any time, convenient for us. Fast forward, some people have spoken about the constitutional role of traditional rulers. This is one topic that has been going on and on for 50 years now. And sadly, most of our people, including the people occupying this exalted position across the country, they always make reference to the Civil Committee on Local Government Reforms of 1976. I believe the people speaking about this have never read the book, because the contents of the book of the reform differs entirely from the reality. Because I always encourage, I have shared a number of copies of the book, for people to read and understand what transpired in 1976. And I even challenge, some professors from the university. It is high time that people, are educated about what transpired at that period. So it's a challenge to all of us now to look for the book, read it, understand it, and then by doing that, we'll be fair, to the people that were saddled with the responsibility, of the reforms in 1976. Because what happened was, in a nutshell, a decision was already taken before the committee was set up. And a lot of people will be shocked to hear the people that, led, to the formation of the committee, not the members of the committee, the people that withdrew the powers of traditional rulers, in this country were not members of that committee, and it was not done in that committee. And I challenge anybody to go and read the book. So that's, about that. And then secondly, again, I appreciate, the Minister of Chieftaincy Affairs for taking steps, to address some of the challenges we have. Some of our colleagues that have spoken, about, additional heads in their respective chiefdoms and emirates, which is okay. But at the same time, we should also look at the overhead in some places. Some are not viable. Some are viable, which I will totally support, the creation of additional chiefdoms, because some of the places are too large, for one person to oversee. So we hope and pray the ministry will look into that. And at the same time, again, since we are discussing, the problems of traditional institutions, someone made mention, of budget, for this. I think, we have spoken extensively. I stood here I think last year, to discuss this matter with other areas from other, parts of the country. And I was before the National Assembly, myself and His Highness the Emir of Lafayette, and a host of others from other parts of Nigeria. We spoke extensively, and in fact, to the extent, even the document, even the bill to come out, we did our best with all the enemies, across the, especially we from northern part of Nigeria. We met in the government house here in Kaduna. All areas, as well as all governors from this region. And we spoke at length, we articulated our position, and it was sent, to the center, for consideration. And even the bill, His Highness the Emir of Lafayette was, adjourned to the Supreme Court, Justice of the Supreme Court, and even the bill, tried to prepare it, for the members to just read whenever they're ready in the National Assembly. So they called us for interactive session. I think it was a brilliant outing. So everything that needs to be done about the role and the function of the traditional institution, I don't think, to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing that is left, untouched or undone. So the only thing is commitment and also the will, to do the needful. So we hope and pray that, people will see it's not about answering royal title. Yeah, whether anybody likes it or not, you cannot change our birthright, as traditional rulers or coming from this, system. It's not our making. It's not that decides that it should be from a royal family or otherwise. So, but what matters most is not about, parading yourself in the traditional title, but what have you contributed to the well-being of your people? We have more than enough, to do. Monday to Fridays, what we do, I believe, is more than what, people occupying, other positions in government, do in a week. I know what we do in our emirate, and I can speak, fluently and knowingly about how much we do every week. And we reached the peak of our career, before we came back, to serve. And we have been right here. From the commissioner of children's here, is right next to him. We all grew up together. But we were in secondary school. He was already, an eminent personality in this state. So his being here, I believe, is a credit, to all of us coming behind them. Despite, the level we also raised in our career. It doesn't mean that, they are very here. Almost everybody here, they are all eminent people, Sergeant General. So, but I do not see any reason why, people should be relegated, to the background. Or if you're wearing a turban, or in your gown, you are considered as an illiterate, or somebody who does not know left from right. There is no one that is, an outsider. So, and this is the feeling, and we are all concerned. Someone that cannot stand even close to you by all standards of life, they block it. So it is left to us now to reflect on what we stand for. So and again, for some of us, that traditional rulers across the country have interacted with so many. The perception of certain people is totally different from what we are. As we are not asking for another tier of government. Not at all. We are not asking for another tier of government. Traditional institution is at the local government level. But let us, have it captured in the Constitution, so that at least constitutionally, you have a legal backing on everything you do. This was a functional system before the disruption or disconnection or whatever you not put in English. So it was working very, very well. We had this system in place, at least in northern Nigeria, for a century before the coming of the British. And that was the reason why, even when the British came, they decided to rule the north through indirect rule, because there was a functional system, a structure in place that is still functioning till today, but with modifications. So we have to be very clear of what we want and, very assertive. And we're not in any way asking for another tier of government. No. But let them look at the law, fine-tune it, give legal backing to the functions of traditional rulers. And even in the local government administration. I believe this institution is being underutilized. Security management or security, what we do, we don't have weapons to fight people. But what do? We provide intelligence. We share intelligence with the relevant people. So it's not rocket science. And it's not tea party that someone mentioned. We work. And we earn a living in this system. So I think I will rest my case here because it's already late in the afternoon. And even the younger ones like us here, we feel it in our bones. So I don't want to keep the Emir of Benubari and other elders longer than necessary here. But even me as a young person, I'm a few months older than the Commissioner of Children's Affairs. So I believe we're 60 already. So this, I'd like to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak. And we hope and pray Kaduna State will excel to green light and will continue to support the good policies of the government. And we hope that the government will still look at all other gray areas so that at least, the people occupying these positions and their followers will smile. So we thank you immensely. And let me also say thank you to the ministry, because if they're not doing well, I'll say it here, I don't hide things. Yes, we're getting our salaries as I went you, so kudos to you, Commissioner for Children's Affairs. If you're not doing well, we'll say it.
Thank you, and hopefully the gen technician is on it, because the next to come is another very, very important part of today's event. However, before I invite, let me say this: when royalty talks, wisdom comes out. And we have had a lot of wisdom from what the Emir of Zazzau said. And let me remind us, and particularly the President and Council Chair, NIPR, the Emir of Zazzau mentioned a particular book. I hope NIPR has noted that he's challenging everybody, including professors, to read that book. And I hope NIPR, if possible, will make that book, if we have digital, and make it available, to really understand where the rain starts hitting us and what we can do to get out of the rain. Okay, quickly, without wasting much time. Okay, thank God. I hope the mic will come up. Hello? Yes, technical people, please.
What's up?
Okay, thank you. Permit me the honor, and I hope we will all rise up to acknowledge when I invite the governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency
Senator Obasani, ably represented here by the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Sadiq Mama Legas, who is coming up to bear two different shoes, one representing himself and one representing His Excellency. Please can we all rise to acknowledge his coming to the podium? Thank you, Honorable. We can sit down, please.
Distinguished guests, respected brothers, stakeholders, development partners, members of the private fellow civil servants, civil society. I came here with a long speech, so that I can read the speech to you people, but I've dropped it after listening to the convocation, discussions and other things in the forum. There's nothing for me going on speech. I've heard what the area of Minabari said. What an excellent presentation, Commissioner for Information. We've all said it all. Now is what have we learned on this forum, on this discussion? What is the next action by the Minister of Government? I'm here to present the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, and at the same time to present the Executive Governor of Kaduna State. What is the decision of Kaduna State? What have you learned? Of what action? What an excellent presentation, the video presentation, the speech and everything. Now we need what? Action. That's what we need. And luckily enough, Kaduna State, I don't think there's any state that has a combination of traditional members, intelligent, intellectuals, former family, intelligent Spanish, and so on. Even my chairman here of the Council of Chiefs, a diplomat, a civil servant before, works with the bank, a lawyer, and experienced traditional ruler who is heading the Council of Chiefs in the state. All the traditional rulers there are excellent fit, former administrators, and so on. So they are competent to handle security issues. What they need is support and funding from where? The government. It's not a issue of having foreign discussions, it's action. So what I learned here, you've given me a task which I'm going to handle from my ministry, locally, along with the Commissioner for Local Government, which I think by next month I'm going to support to 3 local government council chairmen, including the 35 traditional rulers of Kaduna State, so that we can have a joint meeting, so that we can know how we can support traditional rulers. Things have changed. The area of those spoken down. You know, the way traditional rulers are treated in this country is different. Things have changed. Kaduna State is the center of modern Nigeria. We all know. There's no place like Kaduna, no place that will accommodate people. Where are the textiles now? Where are the expatriates? Where are the capital school? The St. Anne's, the Sacred Heart? Everything is gone. You enter, it's not there anymore. When you have expatriates in the state, you know what value they have in the state. Even the so-called Abuja, if you go there, it's Kaduna people that are running Abuja. The regional school is owned by Kaduna. The spring host is owned by Kaduna. The center one is owned by Kaduna. The drumsticks is owned by Kaduna. It's Kaduna people that went to work to FCT. You should just tell what we are working. 3 years back, when this was party, luckily enough, we had a young person, the executive governor of the ministry, that unites the southern Kaduna and the Zone 2 and the Zone 1. Now we're in peace. I'm a victim. 4 years ago, they shot my daughter at NPRW2026. The Kaduna State government did not even come to condole me as a major stakeholder politician in Kaduna State. When last did we hear kidnapping in Kaduna Road? When last did we hear there's a riot in South Africa? All we need is to support it and to support the traditional ways. So I'll show you that by next month, I'm coming for the meeting. We will change our system of funding the traditional ways. We will create an avenue for you to be getting security funds direct, not from the council side, but directly from the ministry. Because security it means a lot. Without peace, you can't govern the state. We have 14 million people here in Kaduna. The same in Rwanda, the same in Uganda. Kaduna State produces the highest product of agriculture in Nigeria. The best mix, category, nesting, all the industries and the food product industries in Lagos, they come here to get what? The agricultural products. The issue is just the leadership, the good leader that will change this country. And we're one in Kaduna, and we're part of it, we're a team, we have to make it succeed. So I'll show you that traditional rulers, this forum that NAPRI organized has given me the platform to think and find a way out of it and to take action immediately by calling in people, not importantly meeting, to make sure that you have the security meeting in your neck, in the council chairman, to make sure that they get funding. Because we can't run the security without what? Funding. When we're having this forum, the Commissioner for Information called and said, we need to have this forum. I found it. I have to say, we can't come without diesel, without petrol. Because the traditional laws will not leave their place 2-3 hours, buying food with 1,000 pesos to come to Kaduna for this forum. So we need funding. So I give you the assurance in allied oversight administration, the traditional rulers of the ministry. Teachings and starts in the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. We know the value of traditional rulers. We know how we are brought up. We are all brought up in Kaduna. We know how our parents are. We know everybody, and we know the value of tradition. Things have changed completely. The way he said to somebody here, even the tenant comes to your area, you know a new tenant has come. Even the so-called Kachia out there and Goa, sing and sing. But now nobody knows. You don't know who is coming to your area, who is living, who is renting, who is marrying, who is this. People will just come into your community. When we came in here with Governor Obasani, the first thing we did, we raised 8 billion naira to the one. For what? For fixing rural electrification organization. And we realized within some 2-3 weeks, they stood all the wires there. With the community there, and the traditional laws is their helpless. Nobody can assist them. Soba, Ikara, Magadri, Kodam, Lere. My area is there, the area of the. He requested for the transformer, we dropped the transformer. We don't forget all the story, and he's helpless. Why is the Kurdish? Why is the civil defense? Why is the DPO? Sometimes it's not the politicians. They say politicians are stealing money and everything. We take the don't want to do project, we have to put security guards here. They could send community person to steal everything, lose the bridge lots. So if you don't come together with traditional laws and fund you, put us together, we'll never get what we want. And in governance, involve traditional laws, you have to stick your. It's not when the election comes, when we start calling high to be this people to talk to people who vote for us. Can you check our side because we're going to be there? This is the truth. The idea of sort of saying it now, they're supposed to include traditional institutional law into the constitutional state, so that they can have legal backing to function, to work, to execute. So, Alhamdulillah, we have the Basani has met the ministry. What we need is to expand the security situation to make sure that there is peace and there is unity in the water in the state. So, I'll give you this assurance that next month, we'll find a way, we'll have a meeting in Kaduna here, call the council chairman, call the major stakeholders so that we can be having meeting. at least 1 thing, so that we can see things change together. Kaduna has lost it. The councillors are not there, the schools are not there, the expatriates are not there. It's just now that things are coming back because of the new government. So I will not waste time of saying anything. On behalf of my governor that is not here, I'm presenting him. He asked me to thank the Institute for organizing this forum and to thank the traditional rulers and to tell you that it's review people 100%. Me being the commissioner for local government and work with people, and I'm surprised you people very, very soon. Know your problem what it is funding, comfort. Some of the traditional rulers are not even researching in their villages. Some are in Kaduna because they can't stay there. No befitting the accommodation. And the securities, there's problems there. Inshallah, things will be fixed. Very much. The God bless the ministry, the God bless the public.
Thank you, the Governor of Kaduna State, His Excellency Senator Basani, ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Honorable Sadiq Mama Lagos. I think the appreciation should be more than this. And we should please collectively appreciate the governor for the enticing promise made here. And I will sing my own song here, made possible by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. My President and Chair of Council, sir, well done. You've had the promise of the governor, and I think all our royal fathers, if I say they are happy, I think I'm speaking the truth. So thank you, Governor. Thank you, Commissioner of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. May Allah bless you. May Allah be with you as you embark on changing the narratives about Kaduna State Chieftaincy and Local Government Affairs. Thank you, sir. So without wasting much time, next on our agenda is to go on presentation of communique and adoption of Kaduna Traditional Institutions Declaration on Peace Communication for Community Harmony and Development. And the communique is put together by the team of the rapporteur and of course in conjunction with the Ministry of the Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. The team is made up of Mr. Benedict of NIPR, Saeed Ahmed Balarabe, NIPR, Mrs. Farida Bubakar, and Ms. Latifa Ismail. I hope I'm correct. Okay? And the communique and adoption for it will be presented by Mrs. Farida Bubakar. Please let's appreciate her as she walks to the podium. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented by the Commissioner for Local Government, and Sadiq Mohammed Lagos, the Emir of Zazzau and Chairman of Traditional Council, Traditional Rulers Council, Ambassador Nuhu Bamali, the President and Chairman of Governing Council of NIPR, the Commissioner for Local Government, and my brother, the Commissioner for Information, Madam Ahmed Migaki, members of the press, our esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Farida Ahmed, and I'm here to present the communique. as put together by Madam Balarabe Said, Mr. Benedict Ogocha, and Latifa Ismail, and my humble self, Farida. The one-year Kaduna State Traditional Rulers Strategic Forum convened on Thursday, 16th April 2026, at the banquet hall of the General Hassan Usman Katsina Government House, General Hassan Usman Katsina State House, Kaduna. The forum was attended by 35 certified traditional rulers drawn from all emirates and chiefdoms across the 20 local government areas, alongside top functionaries of the Kaduna State Government and the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR. The Strategic Forum, a collaboration between NIPR and the Kaduna State Government, served as a pre-conference activity for the Nigerian Public Week, NPRW2026, holding here in Kaduna, themed the Kaduna Peace Model, Traditional Leadership and National Stability. The forum was strategically designed to examine the key deliverables and successes of the peace initiative of His Excellency Governor Obasani's administration within Kaduna State's multifaceted ethnic configuration. Opening remarks. His Excellency Governor Obasani, CON, Honorable Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs at the Government Lagos, reaffirmed his administration's commitment to guaranteeing peace across the state and providing a seamless business environment for investors. Governor Sani lauded the NIPR Governing Council for their landmark initiatives in managing Nigeria's reputation. The chairman of the Kaduna State Traditional Rulers Council and Emir of South, His Royal Highness Ambassador Lumbo and the CFR, emphasized that the traditional institutions remain a strategic pillar in Nigeria's governance trajectory and should be accorded constitutional roles. He cited the Kaduna Peace Model as a working example to be emulated. The keynote speaker is Highness Alhaji Jibril Begwari II, FNIPR, the Emir of Begwari, spoke on traditional rulers as communication anchors, the architecture of community relations, peace building and development. He noted that traditional leaders occupy an indispensable position within the triple objectives of peace, community and relations, and development, deriving legitimacy from custom, spirituality, and collective identity. Citing the breakdown of trust and institutional coherence in Britain, in Birnin Gwari, he identified how traditional institutions have secured the Kaduna Peace Model through cultural-grounded mediation, early warning systems, and narrative reconstruction. He raised concerns regarding constitutional ambiguity and insufficient integration into formal governance frameworks, proposing institutional integration, capacity enhancement, and collaborative governance as key recommendation. The Commissioner for Information and Culture, Kaduna State, Ahmed Beyani, expressed the Kaduna Peace Model, foregrounded in the realities of Birnin Gwari, Giwa, and similar communities. He noted that the model integrates non-kinetic community ownership, inclusive engagement, early warning system, and collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor. Consequently, there has been no violent conflict in the last 3 years, leading to the UK government upgrading Kaduna safety rating from red to amber and ranking the state second in ease of doing business. Conferment of Royal Ambassadors. High point of the session was a conferment of Royal Ambassadors of the World Public Relations Forum, WRPF, Abuja 2026, On the side is Ambassador Lou Bomali, CFR, Area Fellow and Chairman of Kaduna State Traditional Rulers Council. The panel discussion featured the following eminent traditional rulers. Emir of Lere, His Highness Engineer Suleiman Umar, Agam Kufana, His Highness Mr. Titus Dauda, and of His Highness Lieutenant Colonel Sakar Meo. After exhaustive deliberations, the forum adopted the following resolutions as part of Kaduna State Declaration on Peace, Communication for Community Harmony and Development. 1. Recognition of traditional rulers as peace community members. 2. Strengthening early warning system. 3. Support for government peace and security initiatives. 4. Promotion of peace for food security and economic stability. 5. Collaboration with communication professionals and media. 6. Restoration of district and village administration, which was in 2017 with improved security in their respective domain. 7. Welfare of traditional leaders should be taken seriously to enhance their lifespan, and their monthly monuments should be increased to enable them to cope with leadership responsibilities. 8. The forum resolved that there is need for the establishment of National Traditional Rulers Forum for a seamless information sharing and development. The forum agreed for the adoption and replication of the Kaduna Peace model as national model for integration and sustainability. 10. The forum resolved that government should increase funding to traditional institutions as part of enhancing collaboration towards tackling insecurity and boosting the rural economy. Now to appreciation, we extend our profound gratitude to the government and people of Kaduna State and Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, for the sustenance. The communique is signed by. Thank you very much for listening, and I believe this communique has captured a true reflection of what transpired here today. Thank you for listening, and good afternoon.
Thank you to the team of rapporteurs for the communique that aptly captured what transpired today. Quickly, since His Highness said, we are a little bit getting tired. Don't worry, we are at the last second to the last point, which is vote of thanks by Chief of Zawang Kata, His Highness Sir Dominic Gamboya. May we please appreciate his coming up for his vote of thanks. Welcome to the podium, sir. Highly welcome, sir.
Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, it's being represented by our very own Honorable Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Honorable Commissioner, you've done a great job. I am sure that this forum takes place today. His Excellency granted approval and tacit support to the leadership of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to host this forum here today. It's commendable. We greatly appreciate his excellence. Your Highness, the Chairman of the Kaduna State Council of Governors and Chiefs, we appreciate you greatly. I want to start by congratulating you for the award Ambassador that has been bestowed on you by the leadership of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. It's an award that is merited and is well deserved. We congratulate you. The President and Chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, you've done a great job bringing this meeting, this forum to Kaduna, saying that we have immensely benefited from the conduct and the deliberations at this meeting. God bless you. The lead paper presenter, His Highness Megwari, you've done a great job. We were together at the State Security Council Sunday, and we indicated that we had to literally crawl to that meeting because of slight indisposition. That you have made it, and you've taken the time to draft and present the lead paper that is so insightful, so impactful. At this meeting, we greatly appreciate you. And God's blessings will continue to be on you. O Lord, we grant you health of mind and body. The Honorable Commissioner for Information, you gave a thorough insight into the Kaduna State Peace Model. That is an excellent thing. We want you to provide us hard copies of that book. We cannot then get our addresses upon the soft copies. We thank you for this. The Emir of Jannah has been here with us. The other chiefs, emirs and chiefs, this forum. Some of you at the government house on Monday that you have been able to make it back to Kaduna to attend this meeting. It's a great sacrifice. And I'm sure the deliberations here are rewarding. The effort is not in vain. The panelists, you've done a great job. You have opened our ears and learned more from snippets from the paper itself. And thank you. The panelists, the rapporteurs who drafted the thank you. Who drafted the communique? We appreciate you for the job well done. Staff of the Ministry for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, staff of the Ministry of Information, we greatly appreciate your contributions. So, mention the chairman of the planning committee and his team. You did a great job. We greatly appreciate you. I want to appreciate everybody that has found time to attend this event. It has been rewarding. I want to say that all of us are open to learning. We should learn till we are known. The arrangement to host this event here in Kaduna has helped us, has granted us the opportunity to learn. And it has also opened our insights into what we are doing at our level. I want to say that all areas are achieved. You agree with me that 75% of our time is spent. 75% of our time is spent on matters relating to security and resolution of conflicts. If that is the case, this forum, this meeting, has provided us useful tools that we should always apply. Once more, we thank you all for coming. We should God's blessings. We wish you all safe journeys back to your respective destinations. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for that vote of thanks. The Chief of Zamfara, His Highness Dominic Damboya. Can we please appreciate him more? A little announcement. I was asked to announce that the certificates for each of our royal fathers here are ready, and the Director of Chieftaincy Affairs is already sharing. But I don't know how we are going to go with it, because our next item before departure is national anthem for closing the day's event. Please, national anthem. National anthem, please. Okay, before the national anthem, no, I know. Before, I was meant to remind us that immediately after the national anthem, there is going to be group photograph outside of this hall. That's what I'm saying. Please, the national anthem, quickly, please. I